Okay, so Ty Jerome is on the list, and the stock is down. The stock is really down on Ty Jerome, but he didn't cower away. I had to look this up again. I actually have re-stopped and started the video. Dude, I had forgotten already that the Pacers beat the Cavs in 5. Dude, is this Pacers team for real? I mean, the Cavs were good, and everyone was playing. Granted, they were injured to some degree, but they were on the court. I'm high. This Pacers team, I'll be honest, I don't think the Knicks, and granted, I think most basketball content, most sports content is predicting the future. But and it's kind of annoying because it's like, when no one really knows what's going to happen. You got the Pacers and the Knicks, two really incredible basketball teams going to play each other. Who really could say for certain what's going to happen? There's no obvious answer to who's going to win. But I can tell you, I'm very confident in the Pacers because the Pacers have just trounced good teams. So this is no disrespect to Ty Jerome. He was bad. He was bad in that Pacers series, okay? He had 2 games where he went 7% from the field and a game where he went 12% from the field. And there were 2 games where he made 0 of 4 from 3. It was not good. I'm telling you, not a great way to go out when you're entering a free agency summer. Okay. But nevertheless, he still had good stats. So it sucks that his good series was against a bad team, like the Miami Heat. It's unfortunate, but you got to give it to him. 21 minutes, played 9 games. He's still going to get a big contract, okay? Shot 38, basically 39% from 3. Were the Heat that bad? That's really what I'm sort of curious about. I think the Heat gave up too. So that might have inflated his stats a bit, but we have to talk about his accolades. We got to talk about the things he did. He had 28 points in a game against the Heat, 16 in the 4th quarter. That's really good. Ty Jerome's going to make $10 million next year. That's my opinion. And then I think it was the No Dunks guys, they were talking about how the Pacers figured him out. They figured out, I think he likes to make contact, and they said that once they sort of took that away and backed off him, he had nothing. I believe it was Trey Kirby might have said that. I might be wrong. I listened to a lot of basketball podcasts. I'm not exactly sure who said it, but that might be true. But Ty Jerome is the type of guy that might figure out, hey, if they figured out what my game is, how I do things, I need to work on my game. He's the guy that's going to do it. So I'm going to say he's an underrated player. He broke the record for most assists off the bench in the playoffs in Cavs history. Now, I know there's a lot of caveats, no pun intended, in that statement, but still, great player. Still, good stats, bad series. What are you going to do? Free throw percentage, 85%. Everything looks good. On paper, granted the field goal percentage, he must have just missed. Really what did it is in that Pacers series, 40% field goal percentage. It's bad. He just missed a lot of 2s in that series, and that's not looking great for him. But, hey, I made this slide to stick up for Ty Jerome. I still think he's a great player, and I think his evaluation has dipped too deep. Granted, was it a little bit inflated from playing against the Heat? Yeah. I would say it was a lot. And Steven Adams deserves some credit, but I have to go bad on him a little bit. Because he should have scored more. If you're playing 22 minutes a game, listen, I understand. Centers a lot of times are just supposed to be big. Just be big, pull down boards, block some shots. Just be a big, strong man for us. But you should get some points. You score a little bit. So 5.7 points isn't great. Granted, classic center field goal percentage, 60% for his 2s, never shot a 3. It's the center, it's the solid baseline center where teams will do this. Some teams will get cute with their center. They'll say, our center's going to be the best player. We're going to have him do all the fun stuff. We're going to have him be the focal point of our offense. We're going to give him the ball all the time because he can pass, he can shoot. You know the guys I'm talking about. But then there are teams that are like, no, we're going classic. We're going old school. We're putting Steven Adams in there. When it comes to offense, we're going to let other guys do it. So 5.7 points, not great. But what did he do well? Okay, top 10 in box outs in 22 minutes too. I'm not even doing per 36. He's getting that ass in there. He's putting his butt in people's crotches. Number 1 in screen assists per 36. Now let me kill some time explaining what a screen assist is. You set a screen and someone scores. That's as simple as it is. And that's it. You set a screen, somebody scored, and it wasn't you. So that's part of the household stats. And then number 1 in loose balls recovered per 36. All very impressive. He was getting down and dirty. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So he was doing it. And he had a game 6 against the Warriors where he had 17 points, 3 blocks, and was 100% from the field. Is Steven Adams a free agent? That was something I meant to look up. Because does he get a big, he's always younger. He's 31 years old. I feel like he's been out there. I can't believe he's so much younger than me. He must have come over from New Zealand when he was like 15. I just feel like he's been in the league forever. He's 31. Crazy. What is that? I mean, he was on that OKC team that went to the finals. Am I wrong about that? When was that? What was that, 2011? He just doesn't age. Naz Reid. Here's the thing about Naz Reid is I feel like I talk about him every week. I was making the thumbnail, and I was thinking about the thumbnail, and I thought, man, Naz Reid has been on pretty much has found him way into any positive list I have. Obviously, I had my worst list. I'm going to be honest with you. I did a worst of the playoffs list because a lot of times people click on the worst, and then it didn't do particularly well. And I thought, wow, I really sold out to the negative algorithm god and then got embarrassed. So this week's the underrated players, and that's why I'm doing it. So he's shooting 46% from 3, which is better than most. A lot of guys like Shea, Jokic, a lot of the guys that are really good at shooting threes in the playoffs. Actually, I think Jokic is doing well, but his field goal percentage isn't as great. Don't quote me on that. But in doing research from this, people aren't shooting threes very well. Take a look at last week's video. Everyone's three-point percentage is down, except for Naz. Because people are playing harder defense. It's harder to get an open look in the perimeter. And I gotta go bad on him for a little bit. Naz, low rebounding for a center. You'd hope to get a little more rebounding from him. Sort of the antithetical to Rudy Gobert. It's just the way it is. Same thing on the blocks too. But 10th in clutch points. Think about that. In the whole postseason. And that's not even total. That's per game. And then 100% from 3 in the clutch. Granted, there are 20 other players who are 100% from 3. And how many threes has he had in clutch minutes? Just 1. Nevertheless, though, clutch points. He's performing. He's getting it done. And then obviously he shot 6 for 9 from 3 in game 1 against the Lakers. Incredible. Second in 3-pointers made in the clutch. And there's a bunch. Basically, there's a lot of people that are tied for that. But Gary Trent Jr., he takes it. I think he had 2.7 3-pointers in the clutch. And I think it was that last game. It's so funny, though, because it was his last game against the Pacers in that series. Obviously, Gary Trent Jr. on the Milwaukee Bucks, where he was just draining all those threes, and then he botched the game. Nevertheless, when people look back on the statistics, they'll be like, man, Gary Trent Jr. was clutch. They're not going to remember that turnover. That's the beautiful thing about statistics, is it's just numbers. And then really what it is it's factual information that gives you the ability to create your own story. So people will look back and they'll look at those numbers if they do. It'll probably just be me looking back at old clutch stats, and I'll say, man, Gary Trent Jr., he was really doing it there for the Bucks, even though he lost in the game, which is kind of funny to think about. Tari Eason, I like him. I like the way he plays. He plays with intensity. I think he is the ultimate guy. When I talk about Rockets trades, he's the guy I think of. There is no way. In Rockets fans, let me hear it. There's no way he stays a Rocket. Move my mic closer. There's no way he stays a Rocket. Because he's the trade chip. He doesn't get enough minutes. He's only getting 18 minutes a game, 19 minutes a game in the playoffs. 7 points. He's shooting pretty decent from three, and he does shoot threes. And he's a good defender. 1.1 steals and 1 block. He deserves more. I hate this light. This light drives me nuts. So yeah, excellent. Good rebounder. He could be he'd make some team very happy. He's a husband. He's husband material, man. Not an excellent playmaker by any means, but not every player needs to be an excellent playmaker. And Rockets won more games where Tari played more. When I was looking at the game log of those 7 games that they played against the Warriors. I love this guy. I want to see him do more. I want to see him out on the floor. He also seems cool. Look at this. Seems like a real team player. Very affectionate. I like him. Man, I need to move I totally blocked out one of his GIFs there. No, I'm not gonna. You'll never see it. You'll never see that GIF. It's online. It's on Giphy.com if you want to check it. I think he's hugging Jabari Smith Jr. I got a lot of Jabari, Tari love on that slide. Benedict Mathurin. Okay, so he gets to the line quite a bit, and he's made his motherfucking free throws. I like that. I like a guy that makes his free throws. You had one job to do, which is make your shots. Make your free throws. It doesn't quite make sense, but you had one job to do. You had one job to do? Is that from Ocean's 11? You Tulsas. You had one job to do. That's Don Cheadle as Buster? Boomer? What's his name? When they explode the safe. Great movie, if you haven't seen it. Also, Americans never play British people. British people always play Americans. You see that all the time, and they're incredible at it. Good for Don Cheadle, because he's one of the only American actors that I've seen play a British person. And as far as I know, I feel like whenever I do an English accent, English people say it's not very good, but I think it's pretty good. So, Mathurin's three-point percentage isn't particularly great. Made his field goals. He's already at 47%, so we'll forgive him for that. And he's playing such hard defense. And here's the thing. I thought he sort of unfairly got ejected in game 4. I guess he punches DeAndre Hunter in the chest. I guess they called it a punch, but it didn't look like he closed his fist. There really wasn't a great angle of it. But he, with his fingers, and I guess they called it a punch, so DeAndre comes and he shoves him. DeAndre got a tech, which makes sense because it wasn't during the play, but Benedict Mathurin got a flagrant 2. I thought that was a little bit unfair. Also, so Giannis comes up to Benedict Mathurin after that game 5, and he's telling him something, and he's grabbing him by the head. Seems a bit frustrated with him. So what does that tell us? That tells us that he pissed Giannis off enough that he grabbed his head after the game. He made him angry. I think that's good. I think if you win the game and you piss off the other team's best player enough where he's like yelling something into your ear and trying to hold your head in, I think that's a good thing. I think that means you played well. I think if you frustrate the other team and you win, obviously, you played well. He can be a bit of a dirty player though, because if you watch anything about Benedict Mathurin and DeAndre Hunter and their beef, you'll watch. Maybe he's just dirty on DeAndre. Maybe those guys just, have it out for each other. I don't know. But there's some dirty plays on Benedict Mathurin's front. Also, Benedict Mathurin, the 3rd fastest player in the playoffs, right behind Caruso and Cason Wallace. So it sort of just tells you how the bench unit for the Oklahoma City Thunder plays. They play fast. So does Benedict Mathurin. So he's got to cool down a bit because he's an important part of that team, and he can't be getting more flagrants, more techs, because they need him on the court. We'll move on. Luke Kornet. We had a Luke Kornet game, and he played a lot in the playoffs, more than I think he's ever played, because he's had to, because Porzingis has... What do you think he's got? I think he said he thought it was like bronchitis or something, but it doesn't look like he coughs a lot. I'm very curious, because this has been lingering for a long time. Basically the entire year, 2025. He's been talking about this illness that he's had. This, like, people keep calling it a mysterious illness. Bro, we got doctors. We got oncologists. We've got epidemiologists. What do you have? So there's something weird going on here. Something up. Maybe he's got a heart issue or something, but Luke Kornet is getting minutes, dude. He averaged 16 minutes. He started. No, he didn't start. Could have swore he started a game. He started that last game. Maybe Basketball Reference hasn't factored that in yet. I just pulled these today. I swear to God, he started, didn't he? Anyway, they got blown out by the Knicks, but he had 3 turnovers total the entire playoffs. Granted, he's a center. He's not a playmaker. He doesn't have the ball in his hands a whole lot. But averaged 1.2 blocks. And now what's really going to bring up the blocks is he had a game where he had 7 blocks. And that was the same game he had 9 rebounds in Game 5. And he missed no field goals. The Luke Kornet game, which we'll never forget. Second highest true shooting percentage in the playoffs. Pretty impressive. Jarrett Allen, number 1. Actually, and that's something to think about, Jarrett Allen. Second highest true shooting percentage, and he played a lot more than Luke Kornet. Good for Jarrett. No one cares. Once you're out of the playoffs, you may have had the greatest playoffs of all time. Once you're out, your stats don't matter. No one's going to talk about your performance. We're going to get to we're going to get to a lot of people that are out. So, is that all I got on Luke Kornet? He definitely needs to score a bit more. 4.5 points a game in the game where he scored a lot brought that up quite a bit. And then, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where Porzingis is going to go. And he's a great rim protector. He really is. I don't know if he's a free agent. He is. I looked. He is a free agent. He was on a vet minimum contract, and he is a free agent this summer. So I got a feeling, based on where the Celtics are with cap space and everything, I think another team gets him. I think another team that can give him the mid-level exception or biannual exception, one of those two, can pay him more than the Celtics can pay him, or are willing to pay him because they're so deep in the luxury tax. That's how I feel. We can move on. TJ McConnell, another guy that always ends up on all my lists and whose thumbnail has been in. I have to figure out who's going to be in the thumbnail because I need other people that haven't been in my thumbnails yet. Very judicious three-point shooter. Doesn't shoot threes a lot, but he's 50% from 3. And I can respect that. I can respect that if you do shoot threes, but you only shoot the ones you're absolutely positive you can make. 8.6 points, 16 minutes a game. He's playing a lot. I think this might be the most he's played in the playoffs. He played a lot in the playoffs last year, though, too. I do remember this. He made the list last year. 4.4 assists, 3.2 total rebounds for a shorty. He's pretty short. He might just be white. Sometimes, I don't know. Maybe to me, black dudes look taller than white dudes. I don't know. I'm not sure. So maybe he's bigger than I'm giving him credit for. Highest assist percentage in the league. What is assist percentage? Do you care? Do you want to know? It's how many of the assists that happened while you were on the floor were your assists. And a lot of this sort of doesn't add up, but that is on NBA.com. So if you can rebuttal that, but it's really high assist percentage. And he doesn't turn the ball over that much. 1.4. Not too bad. But most of this is, 91% from the free throw line. He went 7 for 10 in Game 4 against the Bucks. Granted, I know I'm just pulling out one single game for a lot of these guys that was either really good or really bad, but I do have the averages down here. And I think that's worth something if you have a game where you're exceptional and your team wins, or if you have an exceptionally bad game when, your team loses in that game. That's what's going to be remembered. If you have a really bad game, which Jokic has had a couple really bad games in losses this playoffs, and we haven't talked about him. We haven't talked about him as a disappointment because in the games where he performs really well, they do typically win. But if you have a game where you lose and you perform really well, people don't really talk about it that much. Actually, I'm wrong about that. Because think about how much have we talked about that game where the game that Russ blew early in the season? I don't even remember who they were playing, but it was Jokic's career high. And Russ goes for the layup, should have gone for the layup, should have burned the clock. Then he turns the ball over because he misses. The ball goes on the other side of the floor and he fouls. I forget who he fouled, but he fouled somebody on a 3-point shot and the Nuggets lost. You know what I'm talking about, right? I feel like we talk about that all the time. So I'm wrong. If somebody loses the game for you, then we're going to talk about it forever. Poor Russ. I'm on Russ's side now. I'm tired of just being negative about Russ. I love Russ. I like him when he's good. I like him when he's bad because he's always Russ. Because what's the point in being a hater? But yeah, TJ McConnell, this is his time to shine because there's a lot of full court press, and that's what he likes to do. There's a lot of full court press in the playoffs. So he was sort of built for playoff basketball, and he plays really hard. Anything else on TJ McConnell? Did move offensively, 4.1. No, can't even read my own notes. Who cares? Cason Wallace. Cason Wallace? We say Cason. I don't know. It could be Cason like Jason. Do you know Tyrod Taylor? Are there any football fans out there? I don't know if Tyrod Taylor's still playing, but I think people still call him Tyrod Taylor. So he kind of came on the scene because he was the starting quarterback. He played behind Joe Flacco for the Ravens for a long time. Then he became the starting quarterback for the Bills. And everyone called him Tyrod Taylor because he was starting to have a great season. And then we called him that for years. And then one year someone said, it's Tyrod, right? So he's in an interview and someone says, Tyrod, how did the offense look? Are you ready for this? Whatever the fuck defense? He's like, yeah, we're ready. We got a good offensive plan. Quarterback's coach. We've been doing this thing and that thing. Also, is it Tyrod or is it Tyrod? And he says this. He says, my mom calls me Tyrod. I was like, yeah, well, then your name's Tyrod. That was the most polite way to say, yeah, y'all been fucking my name up for 3 years. So funny. Well, my mom calls me Tyrod. Yeah, the person that actually said the name to the doctor and put it on the birth certificate, she calls me Tyrod. So I don't know if it's Cason or I don't know if it's Cason Wallace. But he's getting 2 steals a game in 20 minutes. It's pretty good. Highest defensive rating in the postseason. Are you an advanced stat nerd? Do you like this stuff? Because not only does he have the highest defensive rating in the postseason, he has the highest net rating in the playoffs. 6th highest assist ratio. Assist ratio is just assist percentage. Assist ratio is how many assists you get per 100 possessions. Some of these stats, I don't know who can. Does anyone like assist ratio? Does anyone talk about it? Some of the stats, I'm like, y'all are just like making shit up now. So when I'm watching, all right, so I'm a Nuggets fan. And when I'm watching the Oklahoma City Thunder play and I'm watching Cason Wallace play, it feels like he never misses threes. But he does miss threes because he shoots 2.3 a game and he's only making 0.9 of them. But man, I like this guy. I even wrote notes about him, didn't I? Yeah, he's not even, to me, he sort of reminds me of a mini Lou Dort. But man, can he catch lobs, dude. He's so fast. It's a player that you enjoy. He's athletic. He's going to do something exciting. And here's the thing about the Oklahoma City Thunder, is they have such a deep bench that everyone that's on the court is so excited to be out there and they want to perform really well. So they give it everything they've got. And I think that's an important aspect of having a deep bench is everyone's very competitive and they want to be the best and they want to stay out on the floor. Versus the Nuggets, I feel like the bench is so bad, everyone's very timid. And they're like, oh my God, I have to go in? I have to go play the second unit of Oklahoma City? I hope I don't screw up. Versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, they say, oh yes, I am in, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to never get subbed out. So that's how when I watch Cason Wallace play, that's how I feel about him. All right, Dennis Schröder. Now I know, another guy on every single list that I make, but excellent defensive player. I mean, he handled Brunson while Sor Thompson was out. Shot 47% from 3 on 3.5 attempts. I got to give it to Dennis Schröder. I love this guy. I love the intensity. Averaged 1.2 steals in 27 minutes. 3-pointers have been an anomaly. Usually he shoots 35% from 3 and 31% in the playoffs. So is this the turning point for Schröder? I just don't think the Pistons were good enough to beat that Knicks team. I thought they played really well. But Dennis Schröder typically has been a bad playoff performer. We all remember Dennis Schröder messing up the bag. I've reached my swearing threshold. He messed up the bag. He botched the bag. He screwed the bag when he played pretty poorly for the Lakers in the postseason, and he didn't take that extension and lost $80 million. I think I talk about this every time I talk about Schröder, but that's sort of his reputation. But the tide has turned because Dennis Schröder, I believe, is a free agent. And he's going to get, well, this will be interesting. This will be interesting. How much money is Dennis Schröder going to get from the Pistons? Because the Pistons are probably going to be the one paying him. Is it going to make up for the difference that he lost out with the Lakers? I don't know. Catch and shoot threes look great, 40%. And the pull-up threes, because he's more of a pull-up three guy because he's fast. He's fast and he's got a really good handle. I'm telling you, man, he's just sort of like polarizing in a way where I actually looked up some defensive highlights from him. I was like, I kind of watch some Schröder defensive highlights, and defensive highlights are a little more hard to come by. So I found some from when he was at the Lakers, and they were funny because the defensive highlights actually looked really good, but they all sort of came in mistakes. For instance, he's guarding Fred VanVleet. He's like full court pressing him, basically trying to get an 8-second call. He's full court pressing him, and he predicts it, and he puts him in a position where he has to do something a little bit stupid, but he pokes the ball away. It's really impressive. And he makes Fred look like, kind of dumb. And he steals it, and he gets past Fred. He goes up for the layup. He misses the layup, and Fred rebounds it. So it's one of his defensive highlights, but at the end of it, makes him actually look worse than if he just let him bring the ball up the court. Poor guy. And then the other ones, there were a lot of great defensive plays on sort of recovering after mistakes he'd made. Nevertheless, he has to have one of the longest wingspan per his height. He's sort of the opposite of Desmond Bane. Both guys are pretty jacked, but Schröder has very long arms. There we go. That's it. And great court vision. That's the other thing I was going to bring up. Can see the floor. Can get the rebound and is immediately looking down the floor. Some girls wouldn't notice that. But me, I got my eye on Schröder. Okay. Last one, Mitchell Robinson. So, Mitchell Robinson, I think we have to give him a little bit of credit, and we have to applaud him for the fact that he had a brutal air ball in Game 3. One of the worst air balls I've ever seen. But he came back. And I think the Knicks won Game 3. No. The Celtics won Game 3. That's right. But he came back and he was awesome. He tore it up. Mitchell Robinson is so big. I meant to look up his height, but geez, that guy. And he's fast. He's sort of like got Bam Adebayo speed. And I think his size, he almost has like Steven Adams size. Excellent screen setter. Kind of amazing. Just, I was not familiar with his game, I'll be honest. Until I started watching this series, I thought Everyone, he was injured. I think the ankle injury up until January, and everyone was saying, oh, when Mitchell Robinson comes back, it's all going to be over. I was like, I don't know. Really? Okay. But, man, if he can figure out the free throws, 38% free throw percentage is really bad. You're going to get the hack-a-Mitch a lot. So he's got to be careful. Basically, he's got to finish through contact is really what he's got to do, because he's averaging 4 free throw attempts a game on 19 minutes. He's gonna get targeted bad. So the Knicks outscored Boston with Robinson on the floor by 46 points. That might be per 100 possessions, because it does seem like a lot. The Celtics averaged 1.03 points per possession during his minutes. For context, they leave the playoffs putting up 1.14 points per possession overall. So basically, all you need to understand is they scored less points with Mitchell Robinson on the floor, and he was clearly a problem for them. They could not handle him. That's from dailyknicks.com. Got to give credit where credit's due. So I'm a big Mitchell Robinson stan. What do we got? The air ball, the pick and roll, and he's fast. The Miles Turner matchup is going to be interesting, because one thing Miles Turner can't do is rebound. And Mitchell Robinson can rebound. And Mitchell Robinson can't shoot, and Miles Turner can shoot. I'm excited. They're sort of different sides of the coin for centers. Miles Turner is a bit of a sexy, skilled center, versus Mitchell Robinson is more like the classic. I'm big, I'm strong, I'm gonna get the rebound, I'm gonna set a screen. You can't get around me because I'm like a statue. So I'm excited about that. Oh, and I'm doing this before. I should have said this when I was doing the Cason Wallace slide, but I'm doing this right now about half an hour before the game because I wanted to get it done. I got a lot to do today. Now I sound like I'm making an excuse. Like, I got it done. I have a lot to do today, so I had to do it before the game. No, I just wanted to do it before the game because I wanted to get it knocked out, because I might go see a movie later. We'll see. Oh my God, the Patreon. I'm never going to remember. I'm always going to be broke. So the Patreon, $2 a month, get a weekly podcast. This week I'm talking about draft picks and expectations on draft picks. I enjoyed doing it. I did it on the roof of my condo. So have fun with that. Join it. It's cheap. So be good to your mammies. Oh, thanks for being here. Like the video, all that. Bye.